Collins Practice Tests for IELTS. Copyright HarperCollins Publishers 2013. Test 1. Listening. You will hear a number of different recordings and you will have to answer questions on what you hear. There will be time for you to read the instructions and questions, and you will have a chance to check your work. All the recordings will be played once only. The test is in 4 sections. At the end of the test, you will be given 10 minutes to transfer your answers to an answer sheet. Now turn to Section 1. Section 1. You will hear a telephone conversation between an operator and a caller. The caller is reporting a stolen mobile phone. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5. You will see that there is an example that has been done for you. On this occasion only, the conversation relating to this will be played first.
Good morning, Z Mobile Services. This is Tess speaking. How can I help?
I want to report a stolen mobile phone.
Could you confirm your postcode, please, sir?
It's CN2 1EB.
The caller's postcode is CN2 1EB, so CN2 1EB has been written in the space. Now we shall begin. You should answer the questions as you listen, because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 5.
Good morning, Z Mobile Services. This is Tess speaking. How can I help?
I want to report a stolen mobile phone.
Could you confirm your postcode, please, sir?
It's CN2 1EB.
Thanks. And your house number?
34.
OK. Can you give me the telephone number of the phone that was stolen?
Yeah, it's... Wait a minute. It's 07890
07890
623
623
570.
570. OK. So it's 07890 623 570.
Yeah, that's right.
Can you just confirm your name?
Yeah, it's Thomas Green.
Is that Thomas spelt Thomas?
No, there's no H. It's just Thomas. TOMAS.
OK. So you said your phone was stolen?
That's right. I reported it to the police this morning.
That's good. I'll need to take down your crime reference number.
I've got it here. It's CZ
CZ
dash 17624
17624
dash 5.
5. Thank you. Let me run through that again. CZ dash 17624 dash 5.
That's it.
Just a few more details. Can I have your IMEI number?
Oh, what's that?
It's the International Mobile Equipment Identity Number. It's
Sorry, I don't have it.
Not to worry. We'll deal with that in a moment. I just need to have the date and time your mobile was stolen.
That's easy. Between 1 and 2 o'clock yesterday.
That's 1 to 2 p.m. on the 16th of August. Thank you.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 6 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 6 to 10.
Now, I just need a few details of the incident, if you wouldn't mind.
Sure. I was in the Bang's coffee bar in the city centre. I definitely had my phone with me when I sat down. In fact, I remember checking to see if I had any text messages. But when I came to leave, it wasn't on the table.
Did you leave the phone unattended at any time, perhaps to go to the toilet?
No, that's the funny thing. Like I told the police, it was very busy in there because it was lunchtime, and all the tables and chairs were pushed really close together. There were a couple of other people at my table. Someone must have leaned across when I wasn't looking and slipped my phone into their pocket.
Oh dear.
Oh no, it's such a pain. I suppose I'll have to pay for a replacement.
Fortunately, you're covered by our 12-month care plan, so there won't be a charge for replacing it this time. But I have to tell you, if it happens again within the next 3 months, you may have to pay a fee.
Fair enough. How soon can you send me a new one?
We've got 2 options. You can get it sent by courier for next day delivery for a small fee, or we can send it in the standard post free of charge. You should allow about 5 days for it to arrive.
That's a bit difficult. I'm going back to Australia the day after tomorrow to see my parents for a month. Any chance you could send it to their address?
No, I'm sorry. We can only send replacements to UK addresses.
In that case, I'll better have next day delivery then.
Okay, so just to confirm the delivery address, is it 34 Solent Gardens?
That's it.
The final thing we need to do is to put a block on your phone.
You mean to stop the thief from using it? I was wondering about that.
What I need to do is put your IMEI number into the central register, which will essentially prevent anyone else from making calls from your phone. Now, the IMEI number is a 15-digit number that you can see underneath the phone's battery. Do you have a record of it?
No, sorry. Is there any other way to find the number?
Yes. We usually trace it from a call you've recently made. In a moment, I'll put you through to my colleague who deals with that. By the time you've finished with him, your mobile will no longer operate.
Good.
And with your new phone, I'll also send you a crime prevention leaflet, which will give you some tips on how to protect your phone from being stolen again.
Thanks. You've been really helpful.
Don't mention it. Just putting you through to my colleague now.
That is the end of section 1. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to section 2. Section 2. You will hear a presenter on a radio show. The presenter is reading out letters sent in by listeners to the show. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 16. Now listen and answer questions 11 to 16.
Hi, you're listening to Mark Ambrose, and I'll be with you through to midday on Talkback, the show where you tell us what you think about Radio Western. I'm sure you've all heard we have a new boss here at Radio Western, and she's very keen to get your feedback. Well, you've certainly taken her invitation seriously. We'll be dipping into the postbag for your feedback in just a moment, and speaking to a surprise guest or two later in the show. I must start by saying a big thank you to Tony Marsons. Judging by your letters, he did a great job of covering the show last week whilst I was away. Thanks, Tony, if you're listening, and thanks for all the emails asking about my holiday. I had a long, rather boring flight home late last night, but I must say I had a wonderful time. The food was absolutely delicious, and the locals we spoke with were really friendly. Shame about the weather, which was an absolute washout. But you can't have everything, I suppose. And the kids loved it, so everyone was happy. Anyway, on to the first of your letters. Sally from Liverpool is very concerned about the consequences of the cutbacks we've been experiencing here at Radio Western, in particular whether some of our late-night music shows could be facing the axe. We're force-fed a great deal of pop music throughout the day, writes Sally, and some of your listeners look forward to the more niche musical genres you cover in the evening. Are these in danger when you rearrange the schedule? Not at all, Sally. In fact, look out for 1 or 2 exciting new shows over the coming weeks. We've got a brand new classical music show coming soon, and the return of the ever-popular Chris Green with his show on international folk music. And of course there's Carol Whittaker's History of Jazz every Friday night. Hopefully this will put your mind at rest, Sally.
Before you hear more of the radio show, you have some time to look at questions 17 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 17 to 20.
John from Leicester writes in to point out that many of our guests on Talkback and other shows seem to run out of time before they have the chance to finish the interview. It happens again and again, writes John. As the programme draws to a close, guests get rushed and many questions go unanswered. Why don't you offer some kind of after-show online channel where the guest can continue answering listeners' questions? I think that's a great idea, John. And, as you go on to say, if it were recorded, people who don't get the chance to hear the live show could catch up later. We'll certainly pass this one up to management. I'm sure a service like this would go down really well on our website. Now, Clive has a question that would be of interest to all us over 50s fans of Radio Western. Clive wants to know why we don't feature more issues related to this age group and cater more to this group's taste in music. As Clive explains, as a regular listener, I'm concerned about your age profiling. Presenters seem intent on covering topics that appeal very much to the 30-somethings, which is great for them, but what about people of other ages? Clive would like to see music shows aimed at the older generation and more on problems facing the over 50s in our consumer affairs shows. Well, Clive, we'd certainly hate to think you're feeling excluded from our schedule. What about other listeners? Do you think we're getting it about right, or is there room for improvement?
That is the end of section 2. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to section 3. Section 3. You will hear 2 university students discussing how they should prepare for a presentation they are to give. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 25. Now listen and answer questions 21 to 25.
Hi, Kelly. How are you?
Fine, thanks. Do you still have time to talk about our presentation?
Yeah, for sure. We need to get going on this, don't we?
Well, it's next Wednesday, so yes.
Thought it was Thursday.
No, that's the other group. We're doing ours the day before. I've just seen Fiona. She's going to be a bit late, so shall we just get started?
Yes, fine. We're definitely doing it on women in education, aren't we? I know we talked about women in politics, but are we going for education?
Yes, that's right. Now, it's not too long, is it, the presentation? They said to keep it to about half an hour. Maybe we can sort out who's doing what today.
Yes, good idea. One thing we do need to sort out is a projector and laptop. We're going to use PowerPoint or something like that for the talk, aren't we?
Yes, they said we could book a projector and laptop from technical services if we needed them, because it's not in the lecture theatre, is it? I know there's already one set up in there, but...
No, the lecture theatre was booked. We're in the seminar room.
Before you hear more of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 26 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 26 to 30.
Okay, so what's the next step? We need to work out who's doing what, don't we?
Well, we all know the subject, seeing as our last essay was on this topic.
Yes, but we can't just stand up and ramble on. It'll need to be structured. I've got an idea. Fiona's essay was brilliant, wasn't it? Why don't we base the talk on that? We can always add bits here and there if we think it needs padding out anywhere.
That's a good idea. Shall we ask her to get a copy of it for both of us?
Yes, I'm sure she won't mind. We can always let everyone know at the start of the presentation that it's Fiona's work. But we don't want to just read it out. That'll be really boring. It's probably best to make notes from it so that we can improvise a bit on the day.
Why don't we break the essay down into sections and the three of us can each take on one section? We can all make notes on our own part and add to it where we think it needs it. That way we can try to make it our own.
Yes, I like it. So let's ask Fiona to start the talk off and bring it to a close. She can take on the introduction and conclusion. I know she divided the essay into the situation for women in the past and then compared it to how things are now. So why don't I take the bit on the past and you talk about the situation for women as it is now?
OK. If we give ourselves till the weekend to work on it, we can get together on Saturday to see how it's looking. Now, what about the presentation itself? Someone will need to build that and find images. We don't just want to fill each slide with a load of text, do we?
No, we don't. Before I forget, I can sort out the laptop and projector. I've got to go down to technical services to get them to have a look at my laptop. They reckon they can get it to run a bit faster. But the presentation, who's good with computers? Do you fancy having a go?
I don't mind. But I'll wait until we've met up on Saturday just to make sure we've all got our notes.
We'll need images, won't we? Shall we all search for our own to fit our section of the talk?
Yes. And then if you and Fiona email them to me, I'll add them to the presentation.
Right. That was easy, wasn't it? And look, here comes Fiona. Let's ask her about her essay.
That is the end of section 3. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to section 4. Section 4. You are going to hear a lecturer giving a talk on time management strategies. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 37. Now listen and answer questions 31 to 37.
Hi everyone. Today Mark has come in to talk to you about time management strategies. If you remember, in the introductory session, I told you the difference it can make to your studies, so this is an incredibly important session. Thanks, Mark.
Hello. Yes, I'm Mark. I lecture over in the business school, but I have a bit of a reputation for being rather evangelical about time management, and I'm often invited into other courses to talk about it. So, here I am. You've now come to the end of your first week at university, and you've probably noticed how different it is from school or college. For some people, this step up comes very naturally, but in our experience, many students find this new regime a challenge. People aren't watching over you anywhere near as much, and you're expected to be far more responsible for your own learning. Research I've carried out shows that 65% of male students have poor time management skills. It's not quite so high for females, but still, a majority of 55% would benefit from developing these skills. Students who don't will see their grades and general progress suffer as deadlines are missed or work gets rushed, with a decline in the quality of work as a result. In a nutshell, you need to be aware of the big picture, to know what's coming down the line at any given time and what needs prioritizing. Start by creating that big picture, using our yearly academic planner, and don't hide it away in a drawer somewhere. Give it pride of place somewhere, like on the bedroom wall, so you'll have daily reminders of what's approaching. During this first week, you'll have been given seminar and lecture times, essay deadlines, exam dates, and so on. Add these dates to your planner and add any new deadlines, such as seminar presentations or tutorial dates, as you get them. Those important non-academic occasions shouldn't be ignored either. Trips back home for family celebrations need to be factored in. Looking at your planner, the first thing that will strike you is how much time you have on your hands. Just a few seminars here and there, a couple of lectures on Tuesday and Thursday. Easy, you think. But this is very misleading indeed. Your planner only looks empty because it doesn't show all that essential self-study you'll need to do. And, as there's no one else structuring this time for you, you'll need to manage this yourself. You don't want to waste those hours between lectures or seminars in the cafe. Use this time to read through your lecture notes, prepare for the next seminar, or do some research for that next assignment. Essentially, structure your days on a 9-to-5 basis as if you were a full-time employee, and start to calculate how you're going to fill those gaps efficiently. Start by considering how you're going to meet all those deadlines. If there are any cooks among you, you'll know that putting a nice meal on the table requires more than just, well, cooking. You need to research the ingredients, buy them, chop, slice, mix, and so on. Cooking itself is a long way into the process. It's the same with that essay you have to write, or that presentation you might have to make. They need careful planning beforehand, and that time needs to be built into your preparation. Start prioritizing what needs doing and when. Download our monthly and weekly planners to help you map it all out.
Before you hear the rest of the lecture, you have some time to look at questions 38 to 40. Now listen and answer questions 38 to 40.
And here's an important point. When you're planning what to do, be task-oriented rather than time-oriented, and set achievable goals. Finding images for a presentation, for example, is measurable. Simply writing research 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. isn't. This task-oriented approach will be immensely helpful, forcing you to break your preparation down into individual, achievable steps. Try to assess when busy periods are likely to occur, such as the week leading up to an assignment deadline. Are there any evenings during the week you could put aside for extra work? And, just as importantly, make a note of any times you won't want to be working. You'll need time for you, sessions in the gym, evenings when your favorite programs are on TV. Don't forget to schedule in time for non-academic activities like going shopping or doing the laundry. It's best to have a fixed time each week for jobs like these, so they don't interfere with your academic work. Finally, decide where you're going to do your self-study. Will you be distracted by the TV, the internet, or friends if you stay in your room? Perhaps the library will be a better place. Anywhere that encourages you to prevaricate should be avoided at all costs. Starting with the big picture, and then working towards individual goals, will leave you feeling in control, rather than being pulled here and there, firefighting as the next deadline looms.
That is the end of Section 4. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Collins Practice Tests for IELTS. Copyright HarperCollins Publishers 2013. Test 2. Listening. You will hear a number of different recordings, and you will have to answer questions on what you hear. There will be time for you to read the instructions and questions, and you will have a chance to check your work. All the recordings will be played once only. The test is in 4 sections. At the end of the test, you will be given 10 minutes to transfer your answers to an answer sheet. Now turn to Section 1. Section 1. You will hear a conversation between 2 students who have just started college. The two students are making plans for the evening. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 3. You will see that there is an example that has been done for you. On this occasion only, the conversation relating to this will be played first.
Hi Lydia, how was your French class?
I enjoyed it. Francoise, the teacher, she's really nice and friendly. What about you? You're in the exam class, aren't you?
Yes, it was good. There's a lot of work, but I think I'm going to enjoy it. Anyway, we were going to meet up later, weren't we? To see what the city centre's like. Do you still want to go?
Seb says he thinks he is going to enjoy it, so C has been circled. Now we shall begin. You should answer the questions as you listen because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 3.
Hi Lydia, how was your French class?
I enjoyed it. Francoise, the teacher, she's really nice and friendly. What about you? You're in the exam class, aren't you?
Yes, it was good. There's a lot of work, but I think I'm going to enjoy it. Anyway, we were going to meet up later, weren't we? To see what the city centre's like. Do you still want to go?
Definitely, yes. Some of the people in my class went out last night and had a great time. Where would you like to go? What would you like to do?
I'm not that bothered, really. We could walk around for a while, do some window shopping, see some local sights. I wouldn't mind seeing a film later in the evening if you'd like to. My host family are cooking, so I don't think I'll be hungry for a meal or anything like that. I don't really want to stay out too late, no clubs or anything. What about you?
Let's just see how we feel when we get there, shall we? My teacher told me it's late night shopping, so there should be lots to do. Shall I meet you after school?
Before you hear more of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 4 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 4 to 10.
Well, I need to go back to my host family first. As I said, they're cooking me a meal and it'll be a chance to meet all their family. Shall I come to your house when I've finished? You're with the host family as well, aren't you?
Yes, I haven't memorised the address yet. Wait a minute. Where's that card they gave me earlier? Here it is. Have you got a pen?
Hang on. Right. Yes, what is it?
Okay, it's Mr. and Mrs. Andrews. You don't need that, do you? Here we are. The address. It's 60 Mayweather Road. It's in Coldfields, not far from the city centre, actually. My house is on the 14 bus route. It's easy to find. It's just across the road from the police station. If you get lost, here's the telephone number. 01764 38864. Shall we say about 6?
Okay, that'll give me time to get ready.
I'd like to find somewhere that sells paper and pens if possible.
I'm sure you'll find somewhere. I'm hoping there's a bookshop. The teacher has recommended a good grammar practice book for the course.
If we've got time, I could use this voucher the school gave us for a free coffee in the library cafe.
Oh yes, I've got one of them too. Good idea.
That is the end of section 1. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to Section 2. Section 2. You will hear a tutor giving students a tour of a self-access centre. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 16. Now listen and answer questions 11 to 16.
OK, so here we are on the first floor. The self-access centre is just along here on the left. This room's very popular with students and can get quite busy. When it's quiet, you can come here as often as you want, but if there's a lot of demand, such as coming up to exam time, we have to limit sessions to make sure everyone gets a chance to use the resources. If you'd like to follow me in. So, here we are. As you can see, it's a lovely bright room with lots of resources to help you with your English studies. Over there against the wall, we have a row of internet-connected computers. As you can imagine, these get taken very quickly with students wanting to check their email, Facebook, that kind of thing. Because of the demand, we ask students to try and stick to about 30 minutes maximum. You'll need to log in with your username and password. You should have created these already during your induction. Please do not share your details with anyone else, and please make sure you read our policy on using the internet. I mentioned the help desk earlier, and that's it over there, just past the computers in the corner. There are usually 2 members of staff available to help you, and these will often be teachers, so if you have any language questions, that's where you can go. Now, over there you can see the reference section. You'll find dictionaries, exam practice tests, vocabulary and grammar books. I should point out that these books are for reference only, and we don't offer a loan service. We are allowed to make photocopies of 1 or 2 pages, so if there's an exercise you need a copy of, ask the staff to help. Now, these computers on the oval table here, they're our high-spec PCs. You'll find programs to help you with your English, but also opportunities to practice other languages, such as Spanish, Chinese, German, several languages in fact. Some of them require a CD-ROM. You can collect them from the help desk. By the way, there's no internet connection on these computers, nor any office software for the time being. If you want to do any word processing, you'll need to use one of the laptops we keep for this purpose. Again, see the staff if you need one of these.
Before you hear the rest of the tour, you have some time to look at questions 17 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 17 to 20.
Some of you were asking earlier about extra listening practice, and these small rooms here are dedicated language labs. If you want to use this resource, see a member of staff to buy a set of headphones. And finally, here on the left, we have 2 stands with our large collection of readers. These are simplified novels by well-known British authors like Charlotte Bronte, Charles Dickens and Shakespeare. The books are graded, and you'll find lots that will be appropriate to your level. Unlike the reference books, you can take these readers home and keep them for up to 14 days. I think that's everything. The centre is open from 8:30 till 5:30 during the week, so as your classes start at 9, those of you who get here early can use the resource before your lesson. Although it's open all day long, it's booked by a tutor for their class now and again, so you might not be able to gain access if you have any free time during the day. It's best to ask the tutor concerned if it's okay to pop in. Oh, and it's open on Saturday as well, just for a few hours, from 10 till 1.
That is the end of Section 2. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to Section 3. Section 3. You will hear a tutor talking to a student during a tutorial. The tutor is giving the student feedback on an essay. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 24. Now listen and answer questions 21 to 24.
Hello, Jacob. Come in and take a seat. How are you finding the course?
Very good. I'm really enjoying myself.
Good. Well, I've had a look at the first draft of your assignment, and it shows a great deal of promise. How well do you think you answered the question?
I think I dealt with the task okay. I spent hours in the library reading up on the subject, so I feel confident I answered the question. I'm not sure about my Spanish, though.
Well, for a first draft, I was very happy with the content. You've included all the important points, and you've given a very balanced argument, so I'm pleased with that. I think one area you need to work on is organisation.
Yes, my other tutor said the same thing about another piece of writing. My ideas weren't organised logically, she said.
Well, to be fair, I think the order of your ideas here is fine. It's your paragraphing that's the problem. If you look at this page, it's difficult to actually see your organisation. Your ideas are in the right order, but I can't make the organisation out very well because there aren't any paragraphs.
Yes, I see what you mean. Perhaps if I left a line between paragraphs, it would make it clearer.
Yes, that's an excellent idea. Have a look at paragraphs in books, magazines, newspapers, that kind of thing. There's no need to read everything, just pay attention to how paragraphs are presented.
Before you hear more of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 25 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 25 to 30.
OK. I'll have a look at some of my friends' work as well. They don't seem to have this problem. What about the style of the writing? Is that OK? I've never really learnt how to write formally, so I'm always a bit worried about this when I write an essay.
The register is very good, Jacob. No problem at all. You've used lots of nice set expressions we'd expect to find in a piece of writing like this, and used them very naturally.
That's good. What about my Spanish?
Your basic grammar is okay. You haven't made many mistakes, so that's good. What I would suggest is trying to experiment more with advanced sentence structures. Yours tend to be on the short side. That's okay when short sentences are required, but sometimes combining two sentences into one can make the essay flow more naturally.
Have you got anything I can use to practice that? Any books or websites I could visit?
Yes, no problem. I'll give you one of our worksheets in a minute. You can take it away and work on it before you write your second draft. Finally, another thing you could think about is using more advanced vocabulary. Again, the words you've used are fine, but there are more advanced synonyms that would fit more appropriately in an essay like this.
Well, I've bought a thesaurus.
Yes, that's just what you need. As you can see, I've underlined where I think you could make changes, but I haven't suggested any synonyms. Use your thesaurus to try and find some alternatives.
That is the end of section 3. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to section 4. Section 4. You are going to hear a lecturer giving a talk about work placements for psychology students. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 34. Now listen and answer questions 31 to 34.
Good morning. I'm here today to talk about the placement that's offered to all psychology students. As you all know, this takes place in the third year of the Psychology BSc. I'm here to explain a little about the placement and how the process works. A lot of preparation's involved in getting these placements right, so you need to be thinking about this now. Students taking up a placement year benefit immensely from the experience. To find decent employment in the field of psychology, the chances are you'll need to undertake some form of postgraduate training, such as one of our master's courses. These courses invariably demand experience in the field you intend to study. So being able to gain this experience during your undergraduate degree is a great advantage. There's a lot to be gained from joining the scheme. Of course, it will help you identify the areas of psychology you may or may not be interested in. And you'll develop transferable skills such as problem-solving, team-working, communication skills that employers demand and that graduates often lack. Also remember that the placement will offer you networking opportunities to become acquainted with key players in your field. Many of our students who've completed a placement year take up a position with the same employer after graduation or after successfully completing postgraduate training. In fact, many of our students from previous years now hold influential positions in the police, the health service, and the private sector as a direct result of their placements.
Before you hear more of the lecture, you have some time to look at questions 35 to 40. Now listen and answer questions 35 to 40.
The placement you choose will depend very much on your own area of interest. Those of you who have a particular interest in research can opt for a placement in a hospital unit, here or abroad, working in areas of forensic and clinical psychology. A post here can be very rewarding and allows you to contribute to qualitative and quantitative research data and learn practical research skills you can use in your coursework. For those who prefer hands-on experience of working with patients, there are a wide range of options available. We have links with several charitable and public sector organizations that support stroke patients and people recovering from serious physical trauma, for example due to motoring or industrial accidents. You'll have the opportunity to help them deal with long-term clinical treatment and pain management. There are several opportunities to work with addiction and rehabilitation units. The kind of experience you'll gain here can be very wide-ranging. For example, offering you the chance to observe group therapy and one-to-one counselling sessions for anxiety and anger management classes. Students are encouraged to give their reaction to sessions during regular team meetings, which can often be of benefit to both the student and the organisation. For those of you interested in the application of psychology in education, we have a number of students who take placements working with children with special educational needs. Students in the past have worked as teaching assistants and contributed to teacher training workshops. There's a lot more information about this on the website, including case studies written by some of our previous students. These will give you a much wider and richer picture of our placements. As I said earlier, you should already be giving this some serious thought. Our placement officer, Greg Smith, will be able to advise you about the organisations we have contacts with, and we've worked with in the past. Once you've discussed the opportunities available, we ask you to contact the organisation concerned to investigate potential positions and to arrange an interview. Your personal tutor will be able to help you with updating your CV and interview skills. During the enrolment process, you'll have been notified of the need to obtain a CRB check. In cases where you're working with vulnerable people, it's a legal requirement that you've had a Criminal Records Bureau check carried out. Without this, we won't be able to approve the placement. If you haven't yet arranged this, you must notify the placement officer of this during your first meeting. He'll give you the necessary paperwork to make your application. Once you have the certificate, please supply a photocopy to the placement officer.
That is the end of Section 4. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Collins Practice Tests for IELTS. Copyright HarperCollins Publishers 2013. Test 3. Listening. You will hear a number of different recordings, and you will have to answer questions on what you hear. There will be time for you to read the instructions and questions, and you will have a chance to check your work. All the recordings will be played once only. The test is in 4 sections. At the end of the test, you will be given 10 minutes to transfer your answers to an answer sheet. Now turn to Section 1. Section 1. You will hear a telephone conversation between an operator and a caller. The caller is inquiring about car insurance. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 4. You will see that there is an example that has been done for you. On this occasion only, the conversation relating to this will be played first.
Good afternoon, Heartline Car Insurance. How can I help you?
Hello, I'd like to speak to someone about car insurance.
Certainly, sir. Can I take your name, please?
It's Liam Bird.
OK, Mr. Bird. Is the policy for you?
Yes, I bought the car last night. It's still with the original owner, though, until I get the insurance sorted out. Will I be able to do this over the phone now?
Of course, sir. If you have all the information we need to process the application, we should be able to sort it out for you immediately. Could you tell me the make and model, Mr. Bird?
Yes, it's a Ford Fiesta.
The caller's car is a Ford Fiesta, so Ford Fiesta has been written in the space. Now we shall begin. You should answer the questions as you listen, because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 4.
Good afternoon, Heartline Car Insurance. How can I help you?
Hello, I'd like to speak to someone about car insurance.
Certainly, sir. Can I take your name, please?
It's Liam Bird.
OK, Mr. Bird. Is the policy for you?
Yes, I bought the car last night. It's still with the original owner, though, until I get the insurance sorted out. Will I be able to do this over the phone now?
Of course, sir. If you have all the information we need to process the application, we should be able to sort it out for you immediately. Could you tell me the make and model, Mr. Bird?
Yes, it's a Ford Fiesta.
And can I have the registration number, please?
Yes, it's 3R1JTW.
OK. I can see it's a 2002 model, is that right?
That's right, yes.
And what's the current mileage, Mr. Bird?
Very high, unfortunately. 90,000 miles.
OK. It's obviously very reliable.
Hopefully, yes.
And how many miles will you be driving per year?
Probably about 6,000 a year.
OK. And where will the car be kept overnight?
Well, I don't have a garage or a driveway, so it'll be on the road.
OK, nearly there. When would you like the policy to be effective from? Immediately, I suppose?
Yes, I'm hoping to drive the car home this evening. So could I be covered from today?
Yes, that's fine. Now, do you want fully comprehensive cover or third-party fire and theft?
Just third-party fire and theft. It's only an old car.
And how much no-claims bonus have you got, sir?
6 years.
Before you hear more of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 5 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 5 to 10.
OK. Have you decided to take up any of our additional cover options? We have legal cover for a small fee each month, and we can offer a very competitive rate for driver injury insurance. Or we could...
No thanks. Sorry, but I've already looked through what's available on your website and how much it all costs. I've got breakdown cover with another company, and the car comes with a spare set of keys, so I should be okay there. I'd like to take out the 14-day courtesy car, though, and keep my no claims bonus. So I'll protect that, and I'd like to have the windscreen cover as well.
OK, Mr. Bird. So that's third-party fire and theft with additional cover for a courtesy car, protected no claims bonus and windscreen cover. That comes to £425. We'll need to see proof of your no claims bonus. Can you send this to us?
Yes, no problem at all.
OK. I just need your payment details and I can process this for you. So, can I have your full name, please?
It's Liam Bird. That's B-Y-R-D.
And your address?
35 Botterville Crescent, Birmingham, B561ED.
And your date of birth?
The 11th of November, 1969.
And your telephone number, Mr. Bird?
0121 677 9887.
How will you be paying, Mr. Bird? By credit card?
By debit card, if that's okay.
Yes, that's fine. What kind of card is it?
It's a Visa card.
OK. Can you give me the full number that runs across the centre of the card?
Yes, it's 2337 4006 2005 1551.
And the 3-digit security number on the reverse of the card?
OK, hang on. Yes, it's 426.
Thank you. Finally, can I just ask you how you got to hear about our company?
Yes, sure. I found you on the internet.
Thanks. OK, your payment has been processed successfully. You're now covered, Mr. Bird. Would you like us to send your documents to you, or are you happy to download them from the website?
Would you mind posting them to me, please? I'd like a paper copy and my printer's not working.
No problem, Mr. Bird.
That is the end of section 1. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to section 2. Section 2. You will hear a presenter interviewing a student on a radio show. The student is talking about her experiences of mountain climbing. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 14. Now listen and answer questions 11 to 14.
Welcome back to BURS, your independent student union radio station. We're looking at some of the incredible feats one or two of you have been up to during your summer break. I'm with Catherine, who's going to tell us about her successful climb of one of the most iconic mountains in the world, Mont Blanc. Catherine, tell us a little about your achievement.
Well, actually, it was the second time I've reached the summit. The first was in 2007, the year before I came to university. People are often surprised to hear how popular the mountain is with climbers. I've read somewhere over 30,000 people attempt the climb each year, and around 200 people a day summit during the summer season, so it's very crowded up there. Unfortunately, it's also potentially very dangerous. In July 2007, the months before I did my first climb, the death toll reached 30, mainly due to bad weather conditions. The sheer number of people can cause falling rocks, which only adds to the danger.
Before you hear more of the interview, you have some time to look at questions 15 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 15 to 20.
So why did you do the same climb twice? And was it easier the second time around?
In many ways, they were totally different experiences. The first time I went as part of an organised group. There were about 20 of us, and we took 4 days to summit. It was much more of a sociable experience compared to the second climb. This year, I decided to go solo with just one overnight stop. I felt more confident having already summited once, and I wanted to face the challenge of being in control. Actually, you're never really alone. There are other climbers and groups around all the time, but I suppose being alone made me feel more intrepid. The first climb was quite difficult as the weather was very changeable, and we found ourselves climbing in very cold, windy conditions. We were in a group, so we offered each other encouragement, but it was still very difficult. The weather this time was wonderful. Plus, I also spent a few days beforehand in Chamonix and acclimatised myself more to the altitude. This certainly made it easier. You can achieve the same thing by climbing some of the smaller peaks in the area first, but I wanted a more leisurely start. It was fantastic. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Did your experiences on the first climb help you the second time around? I'm wondering if you have any useful advice for others planning on doing something similar.
Well, because the climb's becoming so popular, I think people don't always give it the respect it deserves. And I'm not talking here about the physical condition you need to be in to take on a challenge like this, or having the right equipment. That goes without saying. I think what took me by surprise more than anything else was the extreme weather conditions, even in the summer. For those who want to summit in a single day or two, the climb will often start early in the morning, so you'll need to make sure you're wearing enough layers to protect yourself from the cold and wind. You'll be glad of this when you hit queues and find yourself standing around, waiting to move on. Then at the other extreme, around midday, you must make sure you're fully protected from the sun, or you're likely to get very badly burnt. Whether you climb alone, in a group, or with a guide, that will depend on your own experience. But however you decide to go, it's essential that you take your time and get used to the altitude.
Okay, many thanks for taking the time to come in and tell us all about it.
That is the end of section 2. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to section 3. Section 3. You will hear 2 students talking about revising for exams. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 23. Now listen and answer questions 21 to 23.
Elaine, have you seen the exam timetable? They've just put it up on the department notice board.
Yeah, I've just come from there. I must be honest, I'd put the thought of exams to the back of my mind. Now the dates are there, it all seems a little scary. Have you been revising much?
No, not really. We've got a month, so I'm going to really get going on it now. Why don't we try and work together?
Yes, let's meet a few times a week. I don't like working on my own. I never seem to be able to focus properly. What about Tuesday and Thursday? Oh, no, I have a late seminar on Tuesday. Monday and Thursday? What about that?
Yes, that'll be okay. How do you go about revising? Have you got any tips?
Well, our tutor said we shouldn't start background reading or writing notes until we're clear in our mind what we need to revise. He said start with a revision timetable so we know what to revise and when.
That sounds sensible. Then we can use the timetable to work independently. It'll help us to make sure we're both working on the same subjects. We can make that the first thing to do in our first session. Write up a timetable.
Okay. I reckon the kinds of things we can do on our own in between meetings are things like arranging our materials, lecture and seminar notes, handouts, feedback from our tutors, that kind of thing. If we arrange all these by subject, according to the timetable, it'll help us get organised.
Before you hear more of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 24 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 24 to 30.
Good idea. Once we have all the content, I suppose we could make notes based on past exam papers. We had a talk about note-taking in one of the seminars. They reckon you shouldn't copy word for word. It helps to learn things if you paraphrase main points. And don't just copy loads of facts either. Try to get a feel for the main arguments or theories and match any facts to these.
I also like using mind maps or spidergrams when I make notes. It means you can put down a lot of information, but so that it's nicely organised. It also means you can add new notes after. And bullet points. They really help you focus on main points rather than trying to link them together in sentences.
We also need to remember to make a note of where the information comes from. The author, publisher, that kind of thing.
That's really important. Otherwise, when you're writing the assignment, you can never remember where you got a particular quote from.
I know I said earlier about testing each other when we get together, but now I think about it, do you think it'd be a better idea to talk through our notes on a particular subject? Have a kind of discussion between ourselves? We could use the questions in the past papers to base the discussion on.
Yes, so basically the timetable can be a discussion schedule. Then after each session, we could go away and do a timed essay on the subject. Maybe swap and mark each other's essays. That's a good way to learn, I think. Critique each other's work.
Great idea. So we'll start next Monday with the timetable.
That is the end of section 3. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to section 4. Section 4. You are going to hear a student giving a talk about her research project on the subject of urban design. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 37. Now listen and answer questions 31 to 37.
OK, everyone. This week it's the turn of Carol to talk about the progress of her research project. Over to you, Carol.
Thanks. Yes, hello everybody. I'm going to talk about something called shared space and the research I'm in the process of carrying out into people's attitudes to this, as it might affect them in their local community. First, I'd best explain what shared space is. In essence, Shared space is an approach to urban design that attempts to open up main street junctions more to pedestrians by reducing the dominance of motor vehicles. It's a form of planning associated with a Dutch road traffic engineer called Hans Monderman, who believed that, by sharing the space available, drivers become more aware of pedestrians and drive more carefully. Pedestrians are able to move more freely in this shared space, and the number of accidents is reduced. Shared space design is usually employed in urban centers where pedestrians congregate, such as in shopping areas. It usually results in demarcations between vehicle traffic and pedestrians being reduced or removed altogether. This includes features like curbs, road surface markings, and traffic signs. There are many examples of shared space in operation abroad and in the UK, for example in Kensington High Street in London and Giles Circus in Ipswich. In addition to a decline in accidents, those in favor of shared space also claim additional benefits such as a reduction in unsightly street furniture, like signs and metal guardrails, which can be replaced with more trees, planters, seating areas, and other aesthetic improvements determined by local people. With these urban centers easier to get around in, supporters claim that people are more inclined to shop there, and, as a consequence, the center can become a more thriving area for local people and businesses. Here are some before and after photographs of shared space developments to give you an idea of what it looks like. Despite all its advantages, shared space is opposed by various interest groups. Some motorist organizations claim that the system means drivers lose important information through the reduction of signage. Those representing blind people argue that removing features such as curbs, railings, and barriers between pavements and roads takes away familiar support and means this group of people cannot negotiate their way as easily as other road users. Cyclist representatives have also criticized some aspects of the scheme, arguing that, despite benefits, some cyclists feel more bullied by motorists and consequently less safe. Supporters of shared space themselves also point out that a lack of experience and understanding of shared space by planners can lead to negative experiences for all these groups.
Before you hear more of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 38 to 40. Now listen and answer questions 38 to 40.
To carry out my research, I approached a local campaigning group in my area who were interested in adopting shared space in our local shopping center. I discovered that they were very keen to get feedback from local residents on shared space, and because of the experience I'd gained in research methods, they were keen for me to construct a questionnaire for them. The focus group have a website and an active social media presence, and they decided that the questionnaire will be available as an online survey. Hard copy questionnaires will also be used for face-to-face interviews. There are plans to leave paper questionnaires in the local library, but this is still under discussion. Interviews using the questionnaires will be carried out with pedestrians in the area itself. The group don't have the resources to deliver additional questionnaires to the homes of local residents, so this option was dropped. We have met on several occasions to agree on the data the focus group need. I've pointed out that if they want valid results, the questions must be totally unbiased and not in any way loaded to encourage participants to give the preferred answer. Also, we mustn't assume that participants have sufficient information to answer these questions. We're currently looking into how we can best present the concept of shared space during interviews. I've designed some of the questionnaire, and I'd just like to spend a few minutes going through it with you. I'd be grateful for any feedback you have.
That is the end of section 4. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Collins Practice Tests for IELTS. Copyright HarperCollins Publishers 2013. Test 4. Listening. You will hear a number of different recordings, and you will have to answer questions on what you hear. There will be time for you to read the instructions and questions, and you will have a chance to check your work. All the recordings will be played once only. The test is in 4 sections. At the end of the test, you will be given 10 minutes to transfer your answers to an answer sheet. Now turn to section 1. Section 1. You will hear a conversation between a cashier in a bank and a customer. The customer is asking for advice about traveller's checks. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 3. You will see that there is an example that has been done for you. On this occasion only, the conversation relating to this will be played first.
Good morning. How can I help you?
Yes, hello. I'm going away on holiday next month and I was wondering if you could give me some advice about traveller's checks.
Yes, of course. Where are you off to? Anywhere nice?
To France. To Paris for a week.
The customer is spending 1 week in Paris, so 1 week has been written in the space. Now we shall begin. You should answer the questions as you listen, because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 3.
Good morning. How can I help you?
Yes, hello. I'm going away on holiday next month and I was wondering if you could give me some advice about travellers' checks.
Yes, of course. Where are you off to? Anywhere nice?
To France. To Paris for a week.
Oh, lovely. So how many checks would you like to order?
Well, before I do, are they the best option, travellers' checks?
Well, they're certainly safer than taking cash. If they get lost or stolen, they can be replaced, usually within 24 hours. It's a good idea to have a small amount of cash, though, for snacks and taxis, that sort of thing.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. What about my credit card? Are there any charges for using it abroad?
No, it's debit cards that get charged for ATM withdrawals, not credit cards. And remember, anything you buy with the card might be covered by insurance. So if something you buy turns out to be faulty or...
Before you hear more of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 4 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 4 to 10.
So it's probably a good idea to do all three then. Travellers' checks, credit card, some cash, yes?
Yes. So, how many travellers' checks would you like?
I was thinking about £300. How long will they take to arrive?
It depends. If you order before 2:30 between Monday and Thursday, you'll have them the next day by 10 a.m. in the branch. Or if we post them to you, you'll have them by 5 p.m.
Oh, but I was hoping I could order them today.
That's okay. Orders taken at any time on Saturday will be here in the branch at 10 a.m. on Tuesday, or delivered to your home by Tuesday at 1:30.
OK, that's all right. I don't mind waiting until then. Can I order them now?
Yes. Have you got an account with us?
Yes. Here's my credit card.
Thanks. Let's just log in and I can place an order for you. Could you confirm your date of birth?
15th of the 3rd, 1975. What's the commission on the checks, by the way?
It's 1.5%. That's pretty standard, I think you'll find.
And what happens if I don't spend them all? Will I be able to bring them back?
Yes, no problem. We buy them back and there are no additional charges or conditions of return. So, would you like me to go ahead and place an order?
Yes, please.
Will you be coming in to collect them?
I don't think I'll have the chance to come into the branch on Tuesday. Could you send them to my house?
No problem. Can I just check your address? 54 Tavistock Road?
Yes, that's right.
Postcode CB1 3LR?
That's it, yes.
OK. So that's £300 worth of travellers' checks.
Yes, please.
Now, what about euros? Would you like to order any?
No, thank you. I still have some at home from the last holiday. I forgot to change them at the airport when we got back. I was going to give them to our daughter, but I'll treat myself for a change, I think.
Good idea. So, £300 in travellers' checks. Could I ask you to sign here to confirm the order? Thank you. OK, that's done for you. Your checks will be with you by 1:30 Tuesday. Someone will need to be at home to sign for them. Will that be OK?
Yes, I'll be at work, but my husband will be in. Is that OK?
Yes, that's fine. Have a lovely holiday.
That is the end of section 1. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to section 2. Section 2. You are going to hear an interview with a student advisor on a podcast. The advisor is giving financial advice for overseas students going to the UK to study at university. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 15. Now listen and answer questions 11 to 15.
Welcome to our monthly podcast for overseas students planning to study in the UK. This month we're looking at how to make your money last longer while studying here. And to help us find some bargains, I have Jenny Lubeck from the Student Union. Jenny, students are renowned for being hard up, but there are lots of savings to be made, aren't there?
Well, as soon as students start their course at university or college, they'll be able to buy their NUS Extra card. This will enable them to get a wide range of discounts on essentials like books, clothes and eating out. The card only costs about £12 for 1 year, and for about the same amount you can include an ISIC card. The ISIC is an internationally recognised discount card for full-time students. Discount offerings vary and usually include things like travel, guidebooks, music, eating out, that kind of thing. Students are told all about this when they start their studies, but if your listeners want to find out more about these cards before they arrive, I've put some details of websites on the podcast page.
Now, travel costs can mount up for students, can't they? I know the ISIC card is useful here, but are there any other things students should be aware of?
Understandably, lots of overseas students like to take the opportunity to travel around the country whilst they're in the UK, and for this reason, I'd strongly recommend they invest in a young person's rail card. To be eligible, you need to be between 16 and 25. Mature students over the age of 25 can also apply, so long as they're in full-time education. You can buy a 1-year or 3-year card, and it gives you a third off rail journeys across the UK. The card also gives you access to competitions and things like theatre discounts and holiday offers. At the moment, a 1-year card costs £28 and it's £65 for a 3-year card.
Before you hear more of the interview, you have some time to look at questions 16 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 16 to 20.
And what about buses?
As well as the rail card, it's also more than likely the local bus operators will offer discounted bus travel with their own travel cards. These aren't aimed specifically at students, but can still save you a lot of money if you use the buses regularly. You can usually get these cards for a week, a month, a term, or a whole year, with bigger savings the longer the period. Another advantage of these cards is that, as well as making it cheaper to commute to and from university, you'll also find them very handy free transport whenever you need to do some shopping or visit friends in your area.
Are there any cultural things that students coming to the UK might not be aware of that can save them money?
Some overseas students are surprised by the amount of recycling that goes on in the UK and how much money can be saved in the process. There'll be a roaring trade in used course books in the Student Union on campus. Lots of students who were on the same course as you the year before will be selling their books at the end of their course. They'll be a lot cheaper than buying them new. Off campus, you'll find lots of charity shops in your local town centre with a good selection of novels, and you'll often get some really nice clothes, CDs and DVDs that people have donated, and all at very cheap prices. Of course, shopping in this way means you're contributing to a worthwhile cause as well. And check your local paper frequently for car boot sales. Car boot sales are a very British style of market, where private individuals come together to sell home and garden goods. In fact, they're a great way of recycling some of your own unwanted stuff and can help you make some money in the process. Finally, there are websites and mailing lists where local people offer up items they no longer want for free. as long as you agree to collect them.
That is the end of Section 2. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to Section 3. Section 3. You will hear a tutor answering students' questions about using the college intranet. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 25. Now listen and answer questions 21 to 25.
Hi, everyone. I know you have lots of questions about the college intranet. My inbox is full of messages. I thought it would be quicker and more useful to come in and talk to you rather than respond to all the messages. I'm happy to answer, or try and answer, any questions you have about how to use it when we'll be making things available online. I'm the ICT champion for the department, so hopefully I'll be able to help. Yes, Mark, fire away.
Can you tell us when the assignments are going to be put online?
If you're talking about your second assignment, that should be on already. I uploaded it last Monday. Wait a minute, let me check the schedule. Here we are. No, tell a lie. It was the following day, the 14th. Tuesday, the 14th of October. Have you logged into the intranet yet?
No. If the assignment's there, I'll download it after we've finished. Are you putting all the assignments up?
Yes, I've been waiting for your subject tutors to email them to me. As soon as I have them all, I'll put them online. There's a deadline of the 24th of November. All course assignments need to be online by then. That's college policy for all staff, so they'll be there then for sure.
Will there be anything else? Timetables, trip information, that kind of thing? Only there wasn't much online for our course last term.
I know, but we're making more of an effort this time. We'll be releasing your marks for the first assignment soon. That'll be the 17th of November. You'll find them in your My Grades area. Again, the timetables are already there, Mark. You need to log in. I made these available at the beginning of term in September. According to the schedule here, the booking forms, for those who want to go on the Belgium trip, will be available next week on the 29th of October. So don't forget to check then. You need to get these back to us quickly if you want to go. The trip's coming up soon, isn't it? Let's see. Yes, the 19th of November. Now remember, there are lots of learning materials on the intranet as well. Quizzes, web links.
Before you hear more of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 26 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 26 to 30.
Sir, wouldn't it be easier if we were just given the documents, so we don't have to go online to get them?
I know it seems a little frustrating, Claire, but we're doing it this way for a good reason. We're trying to cut down drastically on the amount of paper we get through. I'm afraid that students are always losing documents we give out in class. So we've decided to stop doing this. You have a limited printing allowance, which means you'll probably be more careful with any documents you have to print off. Besides, it means you'll always know where the information is when you need it. If you're at home and you forget an important date or need a document urgently, you can always log into the intranet and get it.
You said something about quizzes, sir.
Yes, we've had permission from the exam board to put some of their past papers online in an interactive form. That means you'll be able to get answers immediately with some feedback. They'll make a nice change from using the paper copies. Most of them are already online, and I'll be putting the rest on over the next couple of weeks. As I said, these are authentic past papers, so you'll get a really clear idea of your progress. Just to let you know, the technology tracks your scores, so your tutors will be able to tell who's having problems and what areas of the syllabus you might need help with. So it's definitely worth spending some time doing them.
That is the end of section 3. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to section 4. Section 4. You are going to hear a tutor giving a lecture on the subject of obesity. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 34. Now listen and answer questions 31 to 34.
Good afternoon. Today we're continuing our investigation into obesity. We've looked at several factors causing obesity, including lack of exercise and a general sedentary lifestyle, and the role the media plays in promoting the consumption of high calorific food. In the coming weeks, we'll go on to examine serious eating disorders, such as anorexia nervosa and bulimia nervosa. The decline in formal eating times within the family and the subsequent increase in the degree of snacking that takes place have had a significant effect on obesity. Today, we're going to turn our attention to an example of this, what has been termed emotional hunger or emotional eating, as opposed to the consumption of food to satisfy a physical need. Studies have uncovered how our emotional state can lead to us eating more than we physically need. It was originally believed that negative emotions brought on through depression or anxiety were the main cause of this. But it is now acknowledged that positive emotions can have a similar effect on our eating habits. Not everyone is susceptible to emotional eating, and even those who do suffer have highly individual symptoms. However, there are common themes. It seems that people who are already overweight are more susceptible to emotional eating when suffering negative emotions than those who are underweight. Equally, excessive eating of this kind can happen during or after happy events, when larger meals than normal tend to be eaten.
Before you hear more of the lecture, you have some time to look at questions 35 to 40. Now listen and answer questions 35 to 40.
So, what are the signs that someone is eating to satisfy an emotional stimulus? Well, there are several differences between emotional and physical hunger. Those experiencing emotional hunger will feel the urge to eat all of a sudden. This compares to the gradual sensation of hunger that occurs with a physical stimulus. Interestingly, and I'm sure many of you will recognize this, when you're eating to satisfy an emotional need for food, the craving will often be for a specific item, like a pizza or something sweet like ice cream. In this kind of situation, nothing else will really satisfy the craving. When the urge to eat is driven by a physical need, you're far less bothered about what you eat. Emotional hunger makes the individual feel the craving must be satisfied immediately by whatever the specific kind of food is. I'm sure we've all experienced that feeling. I must have some chocolate now. In contrast, the need to satisfy sensations of physical hunger seems less urgent. Emotional eaters will carry on eating even when they're full. A person eating to satisfy a physical hunger will be more likely to stop. Finally, and probably not surprisingly, feelings of guilt often follow emotional eating, but not when eating normally. This has serious consequences for those working with patients suffering with obesity. One way to deal with this is to educate sufferers into understanding the different symptoms of physical and emotional hunger, and to try to help them identify the pressure points during a typical day when daily stresses occur. Being conscious of one's eating habits is the first step in dealing with the problem.
That is the end of section 4. You now have half a minute to check your answers.